Hey friendo, Steve here, and welcome back to the Four Lights Podcast. Once again, I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Big Jeff. How you doing?
Doing great.
You look like you're in ultimate comfort mode there, man. What's going on?
I'm in the nice front room of my house, where I like to lounge and listen to records sometimes. That's about it. There's no
That's
TV
cool.
up here, but it's a pretty quiet room. So, I just figured, this is good.
That's nice. I wish I had like a place like that. I'm literally in my freaking stepkid's room. She's always at her boyfriend's house, so I told her, "Look, you're never here. I'm just gonna turn into because like we have an office now, so I don't have like a space of my own in my house."
Oh, yeah. I got multiple spaces like that. I mean, this is a general space, but I've been turning the garage into like a sort of a man cave. There's a corner. I got a good corner of it. And then
Yeah.
I took over the back wall to the gym area, which is a shared space, but I put the Star Trek stuff up there for the podcast. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I know the podcast that we filmed, and then we have to film again.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, the first 4 episodes were messed up. The second 4 we did were good, right?
We don't have to do the shit about those. Those
Yeah,
are going up
those are
as
good.
usual. Those
So
are going
now
up
we
normal.
have 3 episodes that we're going to do remotely, and then after that, there's going to be 4 episodes that are solid that we recorded out in my garage. They were real fun. They look great. Should be fine.
Yeah, and then we'll figure stuff out from there.
No,
It'd be
but
cool to get
at
like
that point,
it'd
the
be-
world's going to end. I'm not worried about it. Like,
We're that close.
oh yeah, we only got a couple weeks left.
Anyways, the Enterprise. We're doing a hide and Q today.
Is that the one we were doing? Did we already do battle?
Battle? Didn't we? Can we do hide and Q today?
Sure.
Yeah. What was battle next on deck?
That's what it is in the companion.
Okay, we'll do battle. Screw it.
We don't have to.
No, we'll
But
do
the
battle.
last one we released was Justice, right? No, with the naked
yeah.
people running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Battle,
I'll do either
okay.
one. Let's do hide and Q if you're ready for that.
No, I got battle here.
Okay,
This
cool.
is supposed to be in chronological order. I honestly thought hide and Q was next, but I got battle. I got the notes right here. I'm good.
Yeah, episode number comes before hide and Q, and it aired before hide and Q too. So yeah,
Okay, cool. I got battle up. Battle's ready to go.
great.
Cool. This is another Rob Bowman episode.
It is.
Yeah. Let me do this.
And it is sort of the first sort of in-depth introduction or portrayal of the Ferengi.
Yes. It's the first good Ferengi episode.
Yeah, totally. Well, Rob Bowman didn't do a bad episode. But so this episode starts off, Starfleet orders the Enterprise to the Zendi Sabu system to meet with the Ferengi specifically. The Enterprise has been in that system for 3 days, and the Ferengi have been constantly sending out the same message: "Stand by, Enterprise." Everybody's super on edge because it's insulting and aggravating to sit there for 3 days and have somebody to tell you, "Oh, we'll get back to you in a second." It's ridiculous. So Picard calls Crusher into his quarters.
Yeah.
Explains that he has a headache.
Yeah, and she's like, "We haven't had headaches since like forever. It's been like hundreds of years. We got rid of pain altogether." So she was kind of clowning Picard, saying, "Well, we don't really do headaches anymore. What are you talking about?"
That's also very silly. Like, people have pain all the time throughout this whole show. So,
Like, what do they experience when they get hit by a phaser?
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's pain.
yeah.
They go like this. Ah.
Oh, thank God, there's no more pain. I'm dying. I think. I don't know.
So yeah, she's like, we used to have headaches back in the day, but now we don't have anymore. And he's like, "Well, Jesus, lady, I've got a fucking headache, so do something about it." So like the entire episode, she's just loading him up with all sorts of space morphine, basically.
It seems to be that way. I mean, she says, she's doing all sorts of weird medical hocus pocus kind of stuff. where to the point where she doesn't even seem to know what she's doing, and she's just like, "Oh, this will probably work," and he's like, "Oh, that works," and then it's just like, yeah, for a minute or two, and then it comes right back.
The entire episode, I'm starting to get a fucking headache watching it because Picard's just he's got a headache the entire time.
I wish that that Playmates had released a headache Picard action figure.
Yeah,
like, just a Picard, but he just has a really aggravated look on his face, and just one lazy eye, or he's got a twitch, you know. And
he's got his hand is in this form, so he can just do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It articulates up to here.
Right or grab that. Or just he's got to be like this. He just rubs his temples up there. He squeezes his legs together and he just does one of these.
Yeah. Oh man. Ooh boy. Anyways, so yeah, Picard gets called to the bridge. The Enterprise is being hailed by Damon Bach because, yeah, like you said, they were given instructions they keep on getting instructions to stand by. Enterprise, stand by.
Right.
And they don't want to stand by anymore. And so Picard gets called to the bridge. Finally, they're being hailed by Damon Bach. Damon is the Ferengi version of Captain, so his name is just Bach.
Yeah.
His title is Damon.
Exactly.
Bach says that he knows Picard and that there's some sort of mutual problem between the two of them. Troy, for some reason, then has the authority to cut the communication. She's like, something fishy's going on here. So she cuts the communication off. Picard offers. She's like, immediately she's like, I feel like there's a lot of danger going on here. There's all sorts of deception, you know. But I'm onto them, and they're like, yeah, they're Ferengi. That's kind of their thing.
Yeah, exactly. The Ferengi are automatically like the deceptive alien race. So it's kind of basic for Troy to be like, oh, they're being deceptive, you know. At some point, somebody's like, yeah, thanks, Troy. We got that, you know?
Well, you know, you're doing enough to earn your paycheck, okay? You don't need to do extra. Just take care of Lieutenant Barclay when he comes on board.
Oh, he's got real problems. But yeah, I think Damon Bach actually identifies Picard, welcomes Picard as the hero of the Battle of Maxia. Like, he says that specifically.
Oh, does he say that at that point? Okay. Yeah. All right. And, yeah, that's right. And then Data's like, he's like, the Battle of Maxia, and Data's like, they could be referring to this incident with you and the Stargazer back in the day in the Maxia star system where an unknown vessel attacked the Stargazer, and you pioneered this fancy move that they dubbed the Picard maneuver, where he's here, the Ferengi are here, and then Picard zooms into what they warp. We had a whole conversation about this, but essentially, and it seemed stupid, but essentially he appears to be in two places at the same time when he kicks it into warp, and they get confused, and then he's able to blow them out of the sky. They call it the Picard maneuver.
Yeah.
And so Data says, yeah, they're just probably talking about that, and Picard is like, yeah, I barely remember that shit. So anyways, Bach says, we need to meet in person. And Picard says, all right, how about you come over here to the Enterprise in 1 hour? And then Worf gets immediately pissed and says, I can't believe they're coming here.
Yeah, I think that he actually suggests that they come directly to... no, actually, that's later. He does, like, Worf is pissed about that, justifiably so. But also, like, later, they beam directly onto the bridge, which is just tactically ridiculous. Like, that's your most sensitive spot. Why don't you beam them to a transporter bay or something, anywhere else? That's silly.
Yeah, like their most sensitive material you'd think would be on the bridge.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. But
all their shit.
I noted this before, and I wanted to say this again, since... the Decora class Ferengi ship Marauder is a really cool looking ship.
It's a really neat ship.
I was always a big fan of it. I don't know if the people who designed the ships were in communication, to what extent they were in communication with the makeup designers. But I always thought that the look of the Decora Marauder, the Ferengi Marauder, kind of had a look like the Ferengi head. Like it's very similar. in lines and structure. So I always liked that ship. I always thought it was really cool looking.
It kind of looks like an old school, because I used to have like an old school Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it does have a Battlestar Galactica feel to it.
Yeah, and it'd be cool. Like, it's funny you mentioned that the ship looks like a Ferengi head. I wish all the alien races took that tact. That'd be dope. There's like just a big old freaking
like a Klingon head. That would look really rad. Yeah.
Yeah, like just a human head flying through space. That'd be cool.
But to that extent, like, I mean, if heads look like ships and all the Borgs would just have huge cubes for heads, that'd be kind of weird.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be
like
weird.
Minecraft characters.
Or like villains from Doctor Who.
Oh,
I forget. You never did get into Doctor Who, did you?
Nah, not really.
Yeah, me neither. Anyways, Wes runs to the bridge, and he claims that there's going to be an intruder alert. He says he was in engineering boosting the long-range sensors, to which Data immediately perks up and says, "Whoa, what? That sounds cool. How'd you do that?"
He's like, boosting him? How'd you do that?
Yeah. And then, but he's like, "Data, shut up. We're trying to do something here."
Yeah.
And he said he found a ship heading his way. Picard is like this close to like backhanding Wes, and then he gets overcome by another headache.
Mm-hmm.
He's always seemingly in this first like batch of episodes, he's always like a moment away from backhanding Wes.
He's really, he's just like, they went really hard on the anti-kid stuff, and it's kind of contradictory that Picard lets Wes on the bridge, you know, because it seems like he hates kids so much. And he does, to an extent, dislike kids throughout the rest of the show, but he softens up a little bit. But yeah, this first season in particular, he looks like he's about to smack Wes most of the time.
Yeah, usually. This time, he just gets a headache.
Sure.
But he sort of overcomes his pain. He's like, I've got a crippling headache, but I must yell at Wes.
Yeah.
So he kind of checks his ass anyways and says, you know, man, there's fucking protocol on this ship. If there's an intruder alert, you really should, you know, like get us on, like, we have these little Bluetooth comm things right here. Just hit that, and then it'll let us know. And you just want, it was an excuse for you to come to the bridge, man. We all know that. And Wes is like, yeah, okay, cool. You know, I'll probably do it a lot more. So then the Ferengi beam straight to the bridge, like you said. That can't be good.
The Ferengi beam effect looks slightly different. The special effect looks slightly different than Starfleet beam effect. I always thought it looked really cool too. It's kind of swirly. It's an interesting, different aesthetic. It's fun.
There's a fly in here.
You got a fly in there? Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Like all that time, the entire time, like we spent like an hour and a half trying to figure out the tech issues, like doing this. It's if this actually works, it's a miracle.
Yeah, don't tell everybody how inept we both are. We actually had trouble just connecting on Skype. Like, we had trouble with that.
Yeah.
This is something that, like, 7-year-old grandmothers talk to their 8-year-old grandkids on a regular basis, and you and I are like, what are we supposed to do? Just like,
I do this for I literally do podcasting for a living. Anyways, so yeah, you're gonna see this goddamn fly every once in a while. Anyways, yeah. So 3 of them beam over. It's Bach, his second in command. You have his name, right? I don't have his name. It's a bit more involved than just Bach.
Yeah, first officer's Kazago. Yeah.
Kazago. Yeah, that's weird. So they beam over. Picard introduces his crew. Once again, the Ferengi marvel at the whole clothed women. Oh, you clothe your women.
This is still the first season Ferengi when they're doing like weird body movement, body space stuff. They're just like, ooh, and it's kind of awkward.
Look at you.
Thank goodness they abandoned that because it was very silly, and I never was a fan of it. But you know, sometimes take a big swing on stuff, I guess.
So Kazago, or whatever his name is, he was like, we want to buy Data. He was like, how much for the android? Ooh, he's clothed too. And then Riker cracks his lame joke about Data being secondhand merchandise, and Data didn't get it.
Yeah, that's what? Data's wrestling with human humor.
Wrestling with common, yeah, just... Anyways, he's been around for like 29 years and he still doesn't get a joke.
No.
let's see here. So the Ferengi mentioned that the starship. I guess at that point, the starship. It's like revealed they have a starship. The thing that Wes mentioned. He's like, on long-range sensors, there's a ship coming, and this is what that is.
Yeah.
And so in my notes, that's where they refer to Picard as the hero of the Battle of Maxia. Might have been at the beginning, though. You could be right about that. In any event, Picard gets another headache. The Ferengi offer up the ship as a prize, and it's revealed to be the Stargazer, Picard's first command.
Well, Damon Bach offers up the Stargazer. Oh, no, you're right. They offer it. They say they're going to give it to Picard. But Damon Bach, yeah.
Yeah. So Bach then says, we're going to give it to you, free gratis. And the other Ferengi are like
no cost? Like, that's very anti-Ferengi. That's like the Ferengi are all about negotiations. They're all about quid pro quo. They're all getting money for something and not giving away anything for free. So that's like those other. I think that's in the initial point where Kazago and the other guy, I don't even know if they name the other Ferengi, are both look at each other and are like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, Damon Bach has a problem. Why would he offer this ship that we towed all this way to this Starfleet guy for free? What's going on? We got to keep an eye on it. So
yeah. So at this point, so then we're in sickbay. They're trying to figure out why Picard has had headaches, and he says sort of like in the moment, he sort of like mentally gets transported to the Stargazer. He starts sort of saying weird things like, I forget the name of Vigo was like the name of his like first officer or something. It was like Vigo. They were like, what does your first officer do? Well, Vigo, turn on the shields or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And so he starts to talk a little bit weird, like he's sort of in the moment.
He also mentions that he's having. He says specifically, I wrote this down. He says that during the headache process that he had something like a thought, but it was mechanical, like it was almost placed in his head. And at some point, I think he smells smoke, or maybe I just wrote that down because I thought it'd be funny. Doesn't he smell smoke?
No, he does. Yeah, no, he does. Yeah. Now at this point, you'd figure Crusher should probably shut it down.
Yeah.
She should probably be like, okay, we're gonna get you to a star base. Commander Riker is now going to be in charge. You're confined to your quarters until further notice. At that point, the Ferengi will have no mind control over anybody. They'll just take Riker will take the ship. Hopefully he'll get it to the next star base without something bad happening because it's Riker. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then that's it. But Crusher again just sort of lets it go.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, cool. I'll keep unloading you up on morphine. So they're in the conference room. Picard's kind of going over the Battle of Maxia, and he's getting just weirder. He's just getting even more weird, slipping into the moment.
He's slipping back in time to that conflict, And the whole battle thing is like Starfleet didn't even classify that as a battle. It was like essentially the Stargazer, which is Picard's first command, was under sneak attack. They got loped on by some unidentified ship. This is like several years before the current state of relationships with Ferengi, which isn't great, but it was probably ostensibly back when they just barely knew what Ferengi were or who the Ferengi were, what their ships looked like, what their ships' capabilities were, blah, blah, blah. So this ship jumped out of nowhere from the dark side of a moon. They did serious damage to the Stargazer shields. They refused to identify themselves. So Picard. That's when Picard did the Picard maneuver because they had so much damage to their shields. All Picard could think to do was, when he's describing it to the Enterprise crew, he says, "I did what any good helmsman would do," and that's what he did. What you talked about before, the Picard maneuver. Like the deep space version of a neutral spin, he's sitting still, drops it into max warp because he's going because he's going beyond the speed of light. Looks like he's in two places at once. When he stops, drops out of warp, just fires and looks like he's firing from a place that the Ferengi don't expect him to be, or the alien spaceship expect him to be. and because of that, they're able to the Stargazer is able to just totally blow up the Ferengi ship, and then then at that point they had to abandon the Stargazer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now it's back. So they send an away team over to the Stargazer to make sure it's sort of good to tow, good to go.
Interesting production note. Interesting production.
No,
Stargazer Bridge is just a redress of the set of the bridge from the first Star Trek film.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool. Interesting. They still have that stuff just around.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So Picard and Crusher beam over as well. Data brings up the last entry where the ship had to be abandoned. Picard orders them to download all the files to the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he looks at his old quarters. He's like, "Oh, I want to go see, where I used to live." While he's there, we get to see that Damon Bach has like this remote control device. Now it's revealed he's the one who's generating these headaches in Picard, and he can like jack up the intensity, and it's not just giving him headaches, it's sort of transporting him back in time mentally to that time. So yeah, and it's also giving him headaches, maybe as a side effect or maybe intentionally, as well.
Yeah.
It's never really explained. But yeah, Picard, he's doubled over in a headache. Crusher comes in. She sort of catches this moment. She orders Picard back to the Enterprise. She's still insistent that it's all either some sort of stress-related thing or emotional-related thing. It's really kind of absurd, her prognosis there, or diagnosis, rather. Riker back on the bridge tells Bach's second in command that the transfer is complete, and he kind of rubs it in their face a little bit. Kind of rubs it in that they got this for free.
Yeah.
But it might be, maybe I'm giving Riker too much credit here. It might be him kind of feeling out that maybe there's something more at play here. That might be giving Riker too much credit.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think Riker's a pretty astute guy, and there is that definite moment when Damon Bach says, "Oh, we're giving you the Stargazer for free," that Kazago and the other Ferengi look at each other and are like, "Whoa, wait a second, there's something wrong there." And Riker's the kind of guy who would totally pick up on that. So I think that what he's doing there and saying, "Oh, we're getting this ship for quite a bargain," is really just testing that water to see, like, all right, let's see what Kazago thinks about the fact that we got this for free. I want to see, like, if he thinks his commanding officer's in his right mind, because there's always going to be back and forth there between first officers, like, and Riker's not one to shy away from a pissing contest, so.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like that there's they added that other level. I mean, it was
it's a good moment, actually. I like it. Yeah, it's a good character.
Yeah. It's kind of central to the plot that Bach's downfall eventually comes at the hands of his own people, because he goes against like the very nature of their societal norms. But using Riker in that way, first officer to first officer. Yeah, it was a good little moment. I like those little moments.
Yeah, totally.
So Picard shows up on the bridge. He's all fucked up. He tells Riker to take the bridge as he goes back to his quarters. A box of his stuff, like in a chest, has been transferred to the Enterprise, which has the big orb remote control headache / memory inducer thing. He lays down to try to take like a nap. But he just starts having these flashbacks. The little orb thing is fully activated. He's got some flashbacks. Meanwhile, Data, going through the logs, is telling Riker that the logs from the Stargazer with regards to the Battle of Maxia look really bad for Picard. Yep. Apparently, he's coming off as, he was the guy who was starting shit. He was the aggressor. And the people on the Ferengi ship were basically innocent bystanders. We come back from commercial, and Picard and Riker are both listening to the log. It's in his voice. Riker obviously doesn't, at this point he's like, that's not true. I got Data work on that to prove that it is fake. And Picard's, yeah, it's, dude, that wasn't me. That's not how it went down.
Yeah, I mean, the immediate assumption is that the logs were doctored in some way. And I mean, honestly, like, just a couple episodes in Star Trek continuity, you had drunken Wesley making a Picard soundboard. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So
yeah, it actually seems fairly easy at that point.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Picard gets another headache. He listens to the log again. Riker hails the Ferengi first officer to try and get across that, hey, dude, there's some deception at play here.
Yeah.
This is shady, to say the least. It falls on deaf ears. Crusher visits Picard. Her medication or morphine just doesn't work this time because we see Bach on his ship amping up.
Really amping the thing up. He's like, as it turning into 11,
This will fuck your head up big time. And,
yeah.
And Picard's like, ah. And, but yeah, she is completely lost. She calls it, at this point, she calls it emotional pressure. Like, she's probably never seen Picard go through anything like this. And she's like, oh, you're just being emotional. There's too much pressure to deal with. And Picard's like, yeah, okay, sure. I've got a headache. I can't deal with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Picard kind of opens up to Crusher. He's going nutso. She loads him up with sleep meds again. He knocks out. He starts getting these sleep flashbacks. Bach is manipulating it even more. Picard gets up from his bed. He sits down in his chair, just sort of his chilling out chair, and we start to see sort of these ghostly manifestations of what's going on in his own head. He is on the bridge of the Stargazer. There's smoke everywhere. His officers are all sort of like these ghostly figures. We all see them, and he's sort of reliving the moment.
Yeah,
it's a cool little moment. It's a cool bit. Apparently, the way they filmed this, and then a scene later on featured just a lot of Patrick Stewart by himself on the Stargazer bridge. Rob Bowman, apparently, according to the companion book, was very tickled by being able, he's still 28, 29 years old. He gets to direct Patrick Stewart by himself, just him and Patrick Stewart on the bridge. Had to be a pretty big mark-out moment for the director of this episode.
Well, sure, to be that young and to be with an actor of that caliber, just one-on-one, is really great.
Yeah. Let's see here. Data is in the ready room. He says that he has, in fact, discovered that the log is a fake.
Yep.
Picard comes in. He's feeling great, but he's acting really weird. And
kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's being a dick. He sort of shuffles everybody out except for Riker. And he wants Riker to release the Stargazer from the Enterprise's tractor beam. And Riker's like, I don't know why we would do that. That's weird. But Picard insists. He's like, Riker, don't you know what inertia is? It'll just keep on going with us. And he kind of talks really condescendingly to Riker, kind of out of character.
Yeah.
And so Riker's like, okay, well, that's weird, but whatever. Troy then says, she tells Riker, it's like there's two minds at work in Picard's head at that point. She's talking to Crusher in sickbay. Wes comes in, and he sort of offers up his supposition that there's a correlation between Picard's brain scans and some transmissions coming in from the Ferengi ship.
Oh, it's after, Wes is like, wait a second. Like, he literally says, I don't know much about brain scans, but... And then he has the overlay of the frequency of the transmissions from the ship and Picard's brain waves or whatever.
Yeah.
The brain scan thing. And it's like, oh, wait a second. That's what's going on. Is like Picard's brain scan shouldn't be at this frequency right now. And it matches the frequency transmission from the Ferengi ship. He's like, whoa, wait a second. This is what's going on. There's clearly some sort of energy frequency coming from the ship that's affecting Picard's brain.
Right, yeah. Of course, Wes figures this out.
Yeah.
So
that's
Troy's like, we need to go...
Crusher and Troy turn around, and shitty Wesley just goes, "You're welcome, ladies."
You're welcome, ladies.
It's cheesy.
Yeah. It's like when he said in that Justice episode, Where's Starfleet? I don't lie.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, that was annoying. Anyways, so yeah, Troy and Crusher are like, we should go talk to Picard, and then Crusher's like, nah, man, we got to go see Riker. He'll handle this. So Riker then asks the computer where Picard is, and he is beamed over to the Stargazer.
I feel like they should have better tabs on their captain, by the way, especially if he's having like weird brain problems. Like maybe there should be alert. Like maybe Riker should have been like, "Hey, computer, just on the DL, let me know if Picard tries to leave the ship." Because that would be odd and of note and concerning. So I, as first officer, can just set this alert up really quickly. Makes perfect sense. Nobody's going to worry about it. Just so I know. Don't stop him from leaving the ship. Just let me know right before it happens. So I can be like, all right, let's trace that. Where is he going? Somebody, let's send security over there.
Wouldn't every transporter room be staffed?
Yeah.
You would think. So, like, wouldn't
maybe
say, like...
There might be, there might be, like, a cargo transporter or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
there's plenty of people... There's plenty of people who probably aren't doing dick on the Enterprise. Yeah. Just station one security guard just outside his room or down the hall or something. Be like, hey... I mean, yeah, the computer could totally do it, too.
Sure.
Just turn on your push notifications. That's all you got to do.
The push notifications. Yeah, that's it. It's a solution.
Yeah. That's what I do. Turn on push notifications. Anyways, Bach is on the Stargazer with his orange ball mind thing, and he basically disables Picard with it. The Stargazer powers up as Worf runs to Picard's room because they all kind of realize that it probably shouldn't be there. It was brought over in the box of crap of Picard's. Yeah. And so he goes over there to check it out. Bach then, on the Stargazer, with Picard there with him, reveals that it was his son that was in that Ferengi ship at the Battle of Maxia, and this is his revenge for Picard killing him. That then leads to a sort of a sequel episode to this years later, when Picard discovers that he has a long-lost son, and it turns out to be Bach behind that, once again trying to enact revenge. So I kind of appreciate that they went down that road. Kind of, again, they brought Bach back as sort of a disgraced captain after the end of this. So anyways, he puts Picard's head sort of in the mind frame that the Enterprise is, that he's back at the Battle of Maxia, the Enterprise is that Ferengi ship, and so Picard is about to legit start firing on the Enterprise because he's in that mindset. He doesn't really know what he's doing. And that's going to be his revenge. He's going to say, hey, you're going to shoot at the Enterprise, they're much more powerful than you, they'll probably blow you out of the sky, and my revenge will be complete.
Yeah, I don't know why they would. Because the Enterprise is much more powerful. It's not a very well thought out plan, I think. How much effort did the Ferengi put into fixing the Stargazer up? Even if they really bumped it up to the top of their capabilities, it's still a 10-year-old Federation ship. At least the Enterprise is the flagship of the Federation currently. It is eminently more powerful than the Stargazer and bigger. Literally, I think whatever energy is left in the Stargazer, if Picard put it all into weapons and just unloaded, you might deplete the Enterprise's shields by 50%. Even if he started doing that, they could just be like, can somebody just beam him over? And Data, you go over there and just shut everything down. Just do that. And we'll iron this out in a second. I don't know why this is happening, but this isn't a big deal, you know?
Yeah, disable the shields and then beam him right to sickbay, and we'll be fine. Everything will be good. Sure. Yeah. So, no, I'm with you on that one. Back on the bridge, Riker contacts the Ferengi. He shows the first officer, hey, we've got this big giant orange ball. Pretty sure it's yours. And the Ferengi's like, whoa, why do you have that?
Yeah, those are outlawed. That's a bad thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they bring up Picard. He's on the Stargazer. He's gone crazy. He's on the screen. He's like just sitting there by himself, like, "Oh, I'm gonna blast you out of the sky." Mm-hmm. He's ordering the Stargazer to put their shields, prepare for battle. Once again, we see the ghostly officers in his head, sort of there with him. On the bridge, Riker kind of realizes, okay, well, he did the Picard maneuver once before. We need to come up with a defense against it. Data, what's a good defense? And Data says, there is none. Nobody's ever determined. Nobody's ever figured out how to do that. It's a Picard maneuver, damn it. And so, they got to figure that one out. The Ferengi then hail the Enterprise, and they have said, yeah, by the way, Bach, yeah, he's in jail now. We put him in the brig.
Yeah.
Can't be giving away free shit, man. That's sort of not what we do. And he says, good luck, Commander Riker. And that was a sweet little moment.
Very nice moment, yeah.
Yeah, that was cute. So let's see here. Then, yeah. Picard he does in fact try the Picard maneuver.
Data devises a way to anticipate where the Stargazer will end up.
Yeah.
Based on compression of gases, I think it is, or something like that.
Okay, that could be. In any event, Picard gets stuck in a tractor beam, so now they have to, I don't know, explain how they can get around the Picard maneuver in those textbooks, I guess.
Yeah.
So they try that. He gets stuck in the tractor beam. Riker gets through to Picard on the communication channel, and he convinces Picard, after a very dramatic, tense scene, to destroy the silver ball, which is jacking up his head and giving him all sorts of headaches and stuff.
Yeah.
Picard is able to finally break through, and he destroys the sphere very dramatically. The kickback blows him back into the air. It's kind of cool. And then Picard is better. They lock onto the Stargazer and go on their merry way. End of episode.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a good one. I liked it.
Overall, a good episode. Definitely the best Ferengi episode so far. I often think so. I still haven't gone. We talked about this the other week when we shot this episode initially. I still haven't gone back and rewatched the episode that's the follow-up to this that happens a couple of seasons later. I keep meaning to, but when I first watched this, I thought that this might be a little bit more powerful if they did it further into the show's continuity, because you'd have more background on Ferengi. Because the turn, like Damon Bach at some points says that when he's doing his sort of final act reveal and explanation of his whole plan and everything, he says specifically he spent an entire life of profits on the outlawed mind control devices, which is so antithetical to what a Ferengi is, to be so focused on one thing that they literally give away their lifetime of earnings and profits. Is crazy. Yeah. So that really, I think if that came on later in the show and you understood more about Ferengi and how focused they are on that, you might appreciate it a little bit more, like the extent to which he really needed revenge for his son, which is nuts. Usually, if a Ferengi loses a relative, give me some gold-pressed latinum and I'll be fine,
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with you. I mean, I think on one hand, we only had one episode with the Ferengi in it, and although they did a decent job kind of getting the point of their central sort of beliefs across, I think you're right, because that's one thing they got really... One thing they were able to communicate very effectively over the course of, Star Trek Next Generation, and obviously, of course, with Deep Space Nine, they dove way deep into it.
Much more.
Yeah, but even, in the first couple of years of Star Trek, whenever you saw the Ferengi, there was a singular focus for them, and that was the accumulation of wealth.
Yeah.
And so, if they had put that off even a year and gave us 3 more Ferengi episodes, we would, I feel you. I think we would understand just how heavy a thing it is that Damon Bach did, given where his culture's coming from.
But that said, the way that they developed the Ferengi over the show and also DS9, you still, if you have that and going back and rewatching this episode, you definitely appreciate it, because that's like I said, totally antithetical to a Ferengi's just being to be like, oh, I'm going to trade all my profits for this one thing just to
Yeah.
revenge. So
It also, I mean, you could take the like the inverse tack though as well. If you're watching it fresh and you see this, you kind of understand, given that he went to jail for that. Given what we saw with the Ferengi's reaction to it, it does also set them up with some very solid rules for the Ferengi, that they don't mess around when it comes to the accumulation of wealth and how they view that. Yeah. So it also, it does sort of serve that purpose as well. But yeah, real kind of a heavy story, heavy motivation for Damon Bach with his kid and everything.
Well, it's classic Trek stuff. I mean, it's like Khan from Wrath of Khan,
Yeah.
That's revenge on his son. That's great stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really good stuff. And Rob Bowman, again, like you said, he didn't do a bad episode of Next Generation. I think we talked about this a little bit. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I have no idea what his relationship was with the Trek producers by the time he was directing movies, but it would have been interesting to see him direct something like Insurrection, which wasn't really received all that well.
Yeah.
If he were to take on something like that, where you're dealing with like a Fountain of Youth type situation, if he could have improved upon like the original, I forget if Frakes directed that or not. I don't remember. I know Frakes directed First Contact.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he did Insurrection or not. Maybe he did. I forget. But it would have been interesting to see Rob Bowman direct a feature film version of Trek Next Generation. Because he did some good. He did the X-Files movie. That was a decent flick. I mean, he did the Elektra one, but whatever. So yeah, no, good episode though. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool. Right on. Well, we will be back hopefully next week. You and I have to talk about when we can record again.
Sure.
I want to get this episode sort of done, like to make sure that everything worked.
Yeah.
And we'll have a good remote setup. I know you said next week. What do you got? You said you got a show going on next week.
I've Wednesday, but after that, I might have a dinner on Thursday. Oh, no, that's a week after. No. Next week, Thursday or Friday or Saturday or something might be good. We'll figure it out.
Okay, cool. Right on. Promote your shit. You got a show Wednesday, right? It's in Los Angeles.
Correct. If you're in Los Angeles, you want to come out, it's at the Pack Theater on Santa Monica in Hollywood, 8 p.m. Haymaker Royale, sketch comedy. Come check us out.
I'll put a link in the description to this episode. Send me the info.
I will.
I'll put a link in the description. And we got a lot of like LA's our biggest city. So,
oh, really?
If there are friendos out there who are interested in some really good sketch comedy, go check it out and go say hi to Jeff.
Good stuff. Pay what you can. So it's a donation-based model. All you got to just throw $5-10 or whatever you have in your pocket in the jar, and you're good to go.
Nice. Sounds cool. All right, buddy. Well, good talking to you, and we'll hook up soon for the next episode, and we'll get it up a week from now.
Great.
All right. We'll talk to you later.